Hey guys, it's Kay. I posted on Facebook earlier and asked a few people if they would like to hear about something that had happened to me a while ago, um, but that it took its toll on me, and a lot of you guys said yes. I know some people actually on my Facebook page said yes, and other people were sending me messages after I posted about the specific thing, and they said they would love to see it, so I'm going to tell you. And for the people who don't really watch my videos but are friends with me on Facebook, I'm filming this live on Facebook too so everybody can hear this. Um, Before we get into this video, this is something that I know is an iffy subject with a lot of people. Some of you may agree with it, some of you may not. This is just my personal experience with what I'm going to talk about. And so I, I don't recommend that younger children listen to this because this can get pretty weird. And I don't know if a lot of parents would agree with me, telling this. So it will be on the title, viewer discretion advised, because that's pretty much what this video is. It's like a viewer discretion advice thing, because I know a lot of parents aren't going to agree with me talking about this, but the adults that are on my channel want to hear about this, and I know people who are fans of me out of state have wanted to hear about this, so I'm going to tell you. I was, oh Lord, 17? Yeah. I was 17, and I have been studying the paranormal since I was very young. I was about 12 years old when I actually started studying it and got really deep into it and wanted to do more with it. And I had been studying, different religions. And what was from like 12 to 15, I was studying the pagan religion. And from 16 to, I want to say 20, I was studying the Wiccan religion. Well, at 17, the Wiccan religion really got out of hand. I was doing different things to study. I mean, I wasn't like participating in any of the like the I know a lot of you would call them games, but like the seances and the spiritual things and everything like that. I wasn't really doing that. I wasn't participating in any of that. I thought I was doing things to keep my family safe and taking all the necessary precautions about this certain subject because I knew it could get very bad very, very fast. After about 2 or 3 months of studying, I started feeling very uneasy. I'm going to shut my blind because, yeah, it's starting to get dark and I'm starting to get iffy. So, yeah, but yeah, I started to feel kind of antsy. I just about lost my phone there, guys. I am so sorry. I started to feel really antsy and just uncomfortable. Dang it, now the blind's going to screw everything up in my own house. Sorry about that, by the way. My phone, like, totally fell. Friggin' jacket. And I decided to look more into this, and a little backstory as to what I'm about to tell you. My brother passed away in 2012, and I had been thinking that, and since he passed away, I know, well, my belief is that a spirit will live on, or it will stay with you, whoever it was close to, it's going to stay with. So I was thinking it was just my brother. Then as I got looking more into this, I realized it wasn't my brother. But for the longest time, I thought it was my brother, and then things started happening, like really creepy things started happening, and things were getting thrown at people. People were getting scratched. This apparition would like stand over my middle child. He was a baby at the time. He would like stand over the crib, and like I said, I swore up hill and down it was just my brother. Well, then I saw a story of a girl who went through something similar and thought it was a family member, but she had been studying the Wiccan religion, and the more she got into studying this, the worse things got. And what she was seeing, she thought was family, but it ended up being a demonic spirit. So I got to looking into this, and one day I was going into my room, and it made itself very much known. Things started getting thrown. Everything was weird. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And I knew right then and there this was not my brother, because my brother was always a calm, gentle person, and I knew for a fact that wasn't my brother after that. And so I contacted someone about it, and he pretty much told me I was crazy, that I wasn't seeing any of this, or that I wasn't hearing any of this, that nothing of this was happening. And that kind of made me feel a little iffy. So for about 2 or 3 weeks or so, I just forgot it had even happened. Well, then I started feeling really, really weird. I was lashing out at a lot of people. It was like I was me, but I wasn't me, because I lash out only at certain times, like if it's needed. I was lashing out all the time. There was times where I just felt like it would get bad and then it'd get good, and then things would happen again, and finally I just said forget it. And I got a hold of a whole bunch of ghost hunting apps and things like that, and started talking. Well, this spirit, or whatever you want to call it, it really freaked me out. It really did, because I was talking to it, asking what it was here for. What did it want? Who did it want? And it said a family member's name. Now, and then it said, now this family member, I'm very close to. I've always been close to. So it kind of dawned on me that this thing was probably kind of targeting people who I was close to, which scared me to death, because that was everybody in my house. Um, so I kind of got a little worried. And then it said hang, rope, and kill. And I just kind of blew it off like it was nothing. And then all of a sudden, it started up again. When I went back, it said the same thing, said the same person's name, only this time it said death. Um, and when I asked, why did it want him? Um, it said, because you're mine. And that, it scared me to death. And when I said, well, what do you want with me? He goes, we're going to claim what's ours. Now, when I contacted someone about this the next day, they had said that when you study a religion, sometimes something, even if you just visit a place, something can stick to you if they know you're getting close to something, or if you're close to somebody who's passed, and they can come off as somebody you're close to. And that terrified me, because like I said, for the longest time, I swore up, hill, and down that this apparition was my brother, and it wasn't. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. I started doing a whole bunch of things, thinking that this would get rid of it. I started studying more about it to see, how to get rid of, demonic spirits, how to cleanse things and things like that. And it didn't work. Did not work at all. I only seemed to have made the spirit matter. I decided to call in a preacher. And now, okay, backstory to why I called in the preacher. My mother was standing out in the kitchen. Okay. I don't want to leave any of this out for you guys. I'm just trying not to include certain family members, but I think you guys should probably know the backstories before I go into more detail about myself. My mother was standing out in the kitchen. There was a pan that had been on that shelf, the same exact shelf, same spot. Nobody had been on it. You could jump up and down on this floor and it wouldn't move. It was a cement floor. And all of a sudden, this pan flew across the room, and my mom came out holding her arm, and I could not figure out for the life of me what had happened. I thought maybe she had hit the shelf, something, and then it was like, no, I was out there 2 seconds before, and she was right there by the stove stirring some pasta, so it wouldn't stick together. And she lifted up the arm of her shirt because it started turning red. She was wearing an all white shirt, and it started turning red on the arms. And it scared me to death, because when she lifted it up, there was the mark of the Trinity, which is 3 scratches just anywhere. And it scared me to death. And that's when I said, forget it. And I called the preacher. Before they had got there, I had done something very, very stupid. I had gotten back on this app, and I had asked it. Finally, I'd had enough, and I said, what do you want? And it said, we want what's ours. And I said, okay, when did I become yours? So it really affected a lot of things at that point in time, because sorry, kid issues. Um, no, but it was it was a very emotional time because I knew for a fact it wanted my brother because I was close to my brother, but now it's physically targeting my mother. Um, and it scared me. It scared me to death. So finally, I'd had enough and I started asking questions and it mentioned my brother's name again and it terrified me even more. So finally, I blew up. I said, if you want me, come get me. Um, and I was standing about 10 or 12 feet away from my couch. Um, and all of a sudden, this thing just like it hit me like a ton of bricks, and I flew across the room and ended up on my couch. And by that time, the preacher got there. Or, well, I take that back. He got there shortly after. He had just pulled in when this happened. And they came in, they had some oil. And as soon as they stepped through the door, I got so angry. So, so angry. And I've never done that towards anyone who stepped into my house before. I just got so angry. I wanted to physically hurt them. I could see in my head hurting them. And it was terrifying. It was one of the worst things I'd ever gone through. Uh, well, they were putting like oil crosses on the door, and they got to the living room where I was. And they put this cross through, and I just lost it. I had no control over what I was doing. I remember everything, but I had no control over anything. I was kicking and screaming and literally physically trying to claw at these guys. And these are people that I consider family. And I was trying to hurt them. And in a lot of ways, it affected my ability to want to keep going in my studies for the paranormal because I was scared. But yet, in a lot of ways, it made what had happened stronger. But before they left, they decided to try and do something with me. And it worked, um, but it made me extremely, extremely weary about things afterwards. Um, they said, we're going to pray with you. And this horrible scream came out, and this voice that I've never even spoken before came out. And it was bad. It was a bad one. I'm not going to lie. It was horrible. And I knew for a fact it wasn't me talking anymore. It wasn't me having control of my body anymore. And the more I tried to fight it, the angrier this spirit got. Um, so finally, I gave up because I didn't think there was any hope for me anymore. I thought I was just going to live my life as like a walking, talking puppet, for the rest of my life. I didn't think that there was going to be any more physical me. Um, and then one day, I decided to go into my studies again. Well, the same thing happened. The same preacher came back. And they said, well, we're going to pray with you again, but this time we're going to put some oil on you. And I lost it. I actually lost it. I started yelling and screaming and clawing. And I started telling them that I was going to hurt them, that I was going to pretty much make it so they were no longer here in this earth. And it terrified me. It terrified me to death. But when they put the oil on me, I let out a scream and I fell backwards. And it was weird. It was really weird. I don't think I've ever felt anything as weird as that in all my life. Because I just felt like before they had done that, I had felt like I had weighed 5,000 pounds. And then when they did that, I felt like me again. I felt like everything was normal. I didn't feel choked or watched or anything like that anymore. I felt great. I felt like there was nothing wrong. And so for a while I took a break on my studies. And I decided, at about 3 or 4 weeks after that I would start studying again. But this time I studied how to prevent this. Um, I went out and I bought rosaries and I bought incense and I bought crystals and I bought everything. I mean, I was bound and determined to prevent this from happening again, and it hasn't happened again. But for people who understand what I'm talking about, who are in this, line of work, or I don't want to say it's work yet because I don't work there, but for people who are in the line of work and who are studying for this and who have dealt with things like this before, I want you guys to know that you're not alone. A lot of people seem to think that they're alone in this battle when it comes to spirit things, and you're not. because so many people go through it and so many people don't get help for this. Um, I was physically able to literally just say, no more, I'm done, and call someone when I knew it had gotten out of hand with me. But a lot of people don't know how to do that. So I was lucky enough to at least have that. But I think this, the part that I'm gonna tell you is, okay, how I'm trying to figure out how this person worded it to me. Okay, I'm just gonna wing it because I don't actually remember how they worded it, so I'm just gonna wing it. If you're not ready for that, if you're not ready to have things follow you home, to watch your family, to do things like that, if you don't know the necessary precautions and how to stop this, don't do this. Do not study any of this. Do not get into this line of work. Do not do anything, because if you don't know how to handle this, it's going to get bad, and it's going to get bad fast. It could be horrible. I mean, this could physically do harm to you. This could literally make you feel like you're the lowest of the low and keep you there forever if it could. Do not do this unless you know you're ready. I thought I was ready. Obviously, I was not ready. So, I mean, just keep doing it if you're doing it. Keep studying, keep learning the precautions, but don't just jump into this and think that, okay, I got this, because you don't. You never know what's going to happen or what's going to come after you. You never know how it's going to make you feel. Like, I've never been inside Randolph County Infirmary. I went there once. My 6-year-old saw something that terrified him, and he never wants to go back. Now, usually when it comes to things that scare people, I get a really weird feeling about it. And I didn't get a weird feeling from there. I felt more sadness than anything, but I didn't get a weird feeling. And whatever my 6-year-old saw, I mean, I saw it. I saw an apparition. But whatever he saw terrified him. And he never wants to talk about it again. My 6-year-old doesn't get scared easily with that kind of stuff because he knows mommy likes it and mommy's in that line of work and things like that. So it doesn't scare him. I've explained to him that there's good, there's bad, there's evil. He's okay with it. Nothing usually scares him. This one experience terrified him. He never wants to go back. And that kills me because he was so he wanted to do this line of work. He was so looking forward to it. And then all of a sudden, everything he wanted to do just went away. And that's when I knew that maybe it's, because you explain something to your children, I can't talk today. Just because you explain something to your children doesn't mean that they're going to like it. That they're going to be able to do it. And he was bound and determined to do this, but just that one experience that I couldn't prevent, I didn't know was happening, terrified him. So I'm just letting you know, if you guys have small children like I do, and study your history about these places. I mean, I studied Randolph County for months in advance, and I didn't get anything out of it. I didn't get the bad, nothing. There was nothing bad to me. I mean, like I said, I felt more sadness than anything, even just reading the articles. But I am going to do a paranormal series. First one is going to be, I'll think of it in a minute. I am going to do Randolph County, but the first part of this series is going to be Waverly Hills in Kentucky. I'm going to do that, and then the second one will probably be Randolph County. And then I'm going to do Fox Hollow Farm and things like that, and on down the line. I am going to start a paranormal series. So if you are interested in that, hit that subscribe button down below. Just make sure you turn on your notifications so you never miss another video. I know this one was kind of weird and kind of out there, but I'm going to start doing more. I promise. And if you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Kay. I'm so glad to have you here. I do have 2 new channels. There's Hey It's Kay Kids, where I will be doing more videos of my children. And there's Hey It's Kay Vlogs, which will have a vlog on it Friday. So start subscribing to each of those and make sure you turn on the notification bell if you are interested in this paranormal series. So until the next video, I will see you guys later, and stay crazy.